Mr. Chairman.
Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to take a short call and address a couple of the points that the previous speaker made, and particularly in relation to the Independent Police Conduct Authority and the Operation 8 report. I want to preface it by saying that as a relatively new Minister of Police, having only received one report from the authority, the quality of that report was outstanding, and I think the authority should be commended for the very thorough work that they do in reporting on some of these major events in a way that the general public can follow pretty carefully through what has happened. And of course the report that I'm referring to is the report into the accidental shooting of an innocent bystander when the police were pursuing an armed offender in Auckland. But if I come back to the Operation 8, and the member himself made the point that the previous police minister commented on the delay in the report from the IPCA until the court case was completed. Well, it might be 5 years down the track, but we are still awaiting the finalisation of that court case. We are still awaiting appeals, and so in the interests of justice, as much as all of us would like to have that IPCA report finished and the report out in the public, we do have to await the finality of that of the justice system. And in the meantime, I commend the Police Commissioner for his meetings with Tūhoe, the points that he has made about the fact that the operation was not against Tūhoe. In fact, the operation took place right across the country against a wide array of people. But no doubt the people of Tūhoe await perhaps with the most interest the report from the IPCA, as we all do. And once the court case has been completed, I have no doubt that that report will be forthcoming very promptly. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to finish by saying I think we are very well served by the IPCA, and of course we have a new head of that in Judge Carruthers, and I'm sure that the very high standard that has been set will continue on under the new leadership.
Jackie Dean.
Independent Police Conduct Authority is an independent Crown entity, and as they note in their statement of intent for 2009, 10 and 11-12, they have a role as watchdog over police actions. And when the IPCA, Justice Goddard, appeared before the Law and Order Select Committee, she was very clear on that point, is that the IPCA is there as an independent body on behalf of the public of New Zealand to scrutinise and take complaints, write reports on behalf of the people of New Zealand on the New Zealand Police. It was interesting also in the evidence that Justice Goddard gave to the Law and Order Select Committee was that she was well aware of the fiscal constraints that this present government has, and was satisfied also that the IPCA could fulfil their functions as a Crown entity in that environment. And in fact, Justice Goddard made no complaint about the requirement to operate within a constrained fiscal environment at all, and seemed rightly satisfied with the work of the IPCA over the previous year in her evidence to the committee. What I believe was most notable in the evidence in the financial review to the Law and Order Committee was the comments that Justice Goddard made around their investigative capacity. So, with respect to the most serious matters brought to the IPCA, it had been the practice that the IPCA would wait for the police investigation of that particularly serious matter and then perhaps reviewing that afterwards. And so what is now the practice of the IPCA is that they themselves undergo the investigation rather than sitting back waiting for the police to investigate themselves and then review that complaint after it had been determined. And I thought that was a very powerful attitude to take, and I commend the IPCA for taking that approach. And like the Minister has just mentioned, Justice Carruthers will pick up the role in the IPCA, and we look forward to continuing with his contribution to the watchdog role over New Zealand Police. The authority independently investigates all deaths and all instances of serious bodily harm caused by police employees. It also investigates or directly oversees the investigation of the most serious complaints against the New Zealand Police. Now, this is an incredibly important role that the IPCA has, and so the committee questioned the relationship the IPCA has with the police, and what is the relationship like between those two organisations, the police and the watchdog? Well, we were told that while the authority has a memorandum of understanding with the police, which was signed in 1994, so it's now a few years old, we were told that there is a good spirit of cooperation between the IPCA and the police, and that, in their view, that agreement, while it was useful, is now largely irrelevant because both bodies understand very clearly their role and have made the point also that the two authorities were not in an adversarial relationship, but actually were working on, and these are the words of the IPCA, we're working on a parallel path towards ensuring public confidence in policing. I just want to pick up the comment made by the Maori Party MP about the deficit which was recorded of 538,000, and I mean the Maori Party member noted that this was a bad thing. Well, actually there is a simple explanation for that, and the shortfall came about because of a very important child abuse inquiry, and that was for which it received an allocation spanning 2 financial years. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, the question is that the report of the Law and Order Committee on the 2010-11 financial review of the Independent Police Conduct Authority be noted. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I understand that the next entity members wish to debate is the Privacy Commissioner, called Tim McIndoe.